GM Brad Holmes said Lions' plan is to draft, develop, and sign their own. Which
who is Paula?
She was at the.
She's verified, Booner.
Yeah, look, there you go.
Okay.
Verified, has her own Detroit Lions blog, whatever. And I watched the press. So he did actually say
no, that. I've never seen Paula. I've been in like the media here in Detroit for like years now.
Paula.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't know if it was like a
national.
I didn't know if it was like a national reporter who's just like tweeting out Detroit Lions. I don't know. I was just wanting to know.
So
I apologize. Shout out Paula.
Yeah, shout out Paula. Well, based on that, guys, like it kind of tells me a little bit what to expect for free agency. Like I think it's going to be a relatively quiet free agency. It's going to be we signed one or two guys, maybe cheap contracts, maybe one guy. But this has kind of been Brad's thing during his time in Detroit. Now it's draft and sign their own. But here's the kicker, though. Eventually, maybe it's the trade deadline. Like you got to go out and get somebody. And that's just how
a dog.
And that's how every organization is. And I think it'll come. But Brad, I think this speaks to his priority is to re-sign their players, which I actually like. I do.
I kind of disagree with the statement. I think he's going to still get free agents. I think he is. I just don't think it's going to be like, it might not be like the biggest of the names.
That's what I mean. Basically.
And I think you're going to see some, and there might be big names that he likes as well, that he like feels comfortable at. This guy can fit in our culture. I bet you there's a couple big names that he's going to go after still. Just because like they're big names doesn't mean that they're not a Lions guy. I think there's going to be a couple there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do spend a lot of money in free agency this year because they are at that point and they have the money.
I want to be honest. I would. Like if they sign Justin Matabuke to $20+ million, I'd be like, what? Like because you have Panay, Aiden, Jared, like they're guys they got to sign. That's what I mean. Like I think he'll sign free agents, but I'm talking about like a Justin Matabuke.
How good have they been with the cap though? Like if they sign a guy like that, like their cap, like they're right. Like these guys have been good on the books. If they sign a guy like that, I'm not going to be shocked. Like they know what they're doing. They're going to re-sign dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense?
I do think they're going to go out and they're going to sign at least one big contract, no matter what, if it's a defensive end, interior defensive lineman. I don't think going into this draft, obviously Brad Holmes has been so great in the second, third rounds, the later rounds of the draft. But when you're looking into next year, there's a lot of holes that need to be filled with guys that can play right now. And a lot of these guys that are coming out of the draft, not saying they're all going to be or bad or this isn't a great draft, but some of them are going to take time to develop. And I think given the time or the position that the Lions are in, some of those positions of need don't really have time to wait. And you need guys to go in there. And you see how the offensive linemen get banged up. The defensive line's getting banged up. There's going to be spots where you need to just go and plug and play a vet. So I do think, I don't know if it's going to be a crazy signing, but there's going to be a need for signing someone on the defensive line in free agency. You're not just going to be able to plug and play all draft picks forever. Like you are going to need to get a dog on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. And that might not be able to get that in the second round or with pick 29 in the first round. So you are going to have to go out and acquire someone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Jeff, where if they were to go get like a L'Jarius Sneed, I'd be happy, but I would be surprised. But Jeff, to your guys' point too, like it's not saying you get, but if you go out and get a Leonard Floyd, that's like a Detroit Lion, just like kind of quiet guy as far as name around the NFL, but a very, very good football player who's very consistent. Because a lot of the 5-star guys that the Lions need, they drafted those guys. A lot of the positions of need that are the 5-star guys, like the safeties with Budda Baker. I know corner's a weakness for the Lions, but then you look at the Brian Branches, you look at the Aiden Hutchinson, Panay Sewells, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. All of these guys are going to be big names, if not are already big names. So you don't need to have that huge asset in free agency. Would it be nice? Yes, but if you get a Leonard Floyd, a Stephon Gilmore, just guys that are extremely solid, that's all this roster needs. It does not need a big name. Would it be nice? Yes, but I don't think they need a big name.
Yeah,
I kind of agree with that a little bit as well.
Yeah, that was my point. Like that's why when you said like big signing, I would be surprised. Not that I would hate it or anything. Like I would, because like Leonard Floyd would be like
that's ideal.
And you guys know. I mean, we all agree here, and I brought him up. Like that's someone that I think it's perfect. It's a perfect fit. He wouldn't cost too much. He's productive. But again, I'm talking about like the big, a Danielle Hunter, a Justin Matabuke, a L'Jarius Sneed. Like personally, I would be shocked just because the guys they have to pay. But I mean, hey, I just think this is how Brad operates. Like Brad's MO is draft and develop and sprinkle in some vets on top of that, guys that are cost effective.
Hey, and two, this is Yep.
I think the most valuable free agent signing for the Detroit Lions last year was David Montgomery. And that was probably
huge.
People
and it wasn't a lot of money.
Sutton.
Right.
People talked about the Cam Sutton and the CJ Gardner-Johnson signing than they did the David Montgomery. If you get the David Montgomerys of the world, that takes your team to another level. There's people saying that we know that why did we get rid of Jamal? Why did we get rid of Jamal? Is David Montgomery really going to be better? And you're kind of looking at him like, have you seen David Montgomery play? And you put a Leonard Floyd. I just keep saying Leonard Floyd, Jeff, because when you said Leonard Floyd, I was like, yeah, that's perfect. You put him around Aiden Hutchinson, around Alexander Deloney, around Brian Branch, around Ife Melifonwu, you're going to be like, why were people not talking about Leonard Floyd?
Hey, and you know what too, and this is kind of something I've been thinking about as well. Is yes, and Jeff, I get your point. Like they're going to re-sign their guys. That's going to happen. They have, I think, the 5th most cap space in the NFL right now. They can re-sign these guys, and they're going to still have probably a top 20 cap hit. Like they're still going to be able, or cap space available. They're still going to have so much money to be able to work with, to where they're going to be able to go out and get, if they want to just take a couple, 3, 4, 5, like just normal contracts and go do that, or if they want to get 2 or 3 contracts and then go make a big splash. Like this is the first year we've ever seen the Lions with this much money. And on top of that, they don't have to re-sign everyone as well. They can go out there and make a splash on a guy for a 2 or 3 year deal and kind of work the cap space in the right direction, do front end deals, do different things like that. So I do think they do a lot of moves in free agency. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like last year, they didn't have a ton of money, and they still went and got CJ Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, David Montgomery. They still went out and got Graham Glasgow. Like they went out and found their pieces, and those pieces all contributed outside of Emmanuel Mosley to going to the NFC Championship game. Now you have that much more money, the top 5 in the NFL. You're telling me Brad's not, like he went out and got pieces last year. You're telling me he's not going to go out this year and get even better pieces and more pieces with that money? He's not going to go into next season with like a ton of money just sitting there. He's going to spend the money. Like whether it's a 1-year deal or a 3-year deal, he's going to spend the money some way, somehow, and he's going to make this team better. So I do think they make a handful of free agent signings, to be honest. Like they're going to make some moves. And it's going to be, I'm excited. I remember last year, the David Montgomery driving down the highway, and I was on socials and had to pull over on the highway and get a post up and make a graphic on the side of the highway. Like, I'm excited. I hope I'm driving this year, and Brad.
Just remember how replaceable you are, Booner.
Oh yeah. No one would do that, man. On the side of 75, making a
We're
David
all
Montgomery.
replaceable.